For almost all of human history, commerce worked the exact same way. A customer walks into a shop, hands over cash, and walks out with a product. If that business wanted to make more money, they had to convince that customer to come back and actively buy something else. But today, some of the wealthiest corporations on Earth operate under a completely different model. They generate revenue specifically when consumers forget they are paying them, rather than relying on active, conscious purchases. Look at the software industry's massive pivot over the last decade. You used to buy Microsoft Office once. You got a physical case, a stack of CDs, installed the programs, and owned them permanently. The same was true for industry-standard creative tools. A single purchase of a retail box gave you Adobe Photoshop forever. But tech giants eventually realized that selling you software once was incredibly inefficient. Investors and financial markets crave certainty above everything else. A traditional retail business lives in the stress of unpredictable daily sales. A company that charges millions of people automatically every single month creates a predictable, infinitely scalable goldmine. Major corporations now prioritize embedding a service so deeply into your daily routine that your bank account effectively becomes an automated, predictable cash machine. This animation shows exactly how companies bypass our financial defenses, starting with a psychological tactic called payment reframing. If a business asks for $500 upfront, your brain immediately flags it as a major expense. But if they shrink that request down to $9.99 a month, the cost suddenly feels entirely painless. That small monthly fee bypasses your initial hesitation, completely masking the reality that over 5 years, you will quietly hand them over $900. Once they have you accepting a monthly fee, they introduce tiered pricing, usually offering a basic, premium, and ultimate plan. The goal here isn't to give you diverse choices. They carefully set an extremely high price for the top tier to create an anchor, making the middle option suddenly look like a highly logical, completely reasonable bargain. These pricing structures are meticulously designed to eliminate the psychological friction of spending your money. Almost every subscription service starts with a free trial, but there is a specific reason they demand your credit card information before the first day ends. That required entry sets up the most crucial element of the entire operation: frictionless autopay. If you had to manually type your credit card number in every 30 days, you would naturally pause to reconsider the purchase. Automation entirely skips that moment of hesitation. Like a perfectly frictionless wheel spinning in the background, the money leaves your account before you even realize a billing cycle has passed. The transaction happens while you sleep. By automating the payment, the company successfully removes your active, conscious brain from the financial transaction. This graph illustrates the financial metric that justifies giving you those free trials: customer lifetime value. A company will gladly absorb a $100 loss to acquire you today because keeping you subscribed for 3 years turns that initial dip into massive, sustained profit. To ensure you stay for those 3 years, the service must transition from a luxury into a daily routine through ecosystem lock-in. Think about why Amazon Prime attaches streaming movies, music, and cloud storage to a 2-day shipping service. By tying multiple, entirely different daily benefits to a single monthly fee, they deliberately intertwine their product with your daily habits. A standalone service is easy to cancel, but a bundled ecosystem builds an impenetrable moat, making the product feel like an irreplaceable daily necessity. When you finally attempt to break that habit, the frictionless experience suddenly vanishes. Companies intentionally introduce dark patterns, hiding the cancellation button behind multiple confusing pages and complex menus. At the final exit door, they deploy their strongest psychological weapon: loss aversion. Humans naturally fear losing what they already have far more than they value gaining something new. The interface highlights the destruction of digital assets or the loss of status, making you feel as though you are throwing away a piece of your identity rather than simply saving money. The entire architecture ensures that stopping a payment feels more emotionally and practically painful than just letting the automated billing continue. Because this model guarantees immense financial stability, Wall Street heavily rewards it, and that pressure is forcing the subscription model to break out of software and colonize physical industries. We are already seeing automakers experiment with charging monthly fees to unlock heated seats, hardware that is already physically installed in the car sitting in your driveway. This constant demand for monthly rent on everything we use is creating widespread subscription fatigue and an artificial dependency on the platforms that control our property. The modern economy has shifted toward capturing a permanent slice of your automated behavior, rather than relying on one-time manual purchases. The massive purchases you agonize over aren't usually the ones draining your wealth. In a world optimized for recurring revenue, the tiniest, most invisible monthly payments are actually the most dangerous traps of all.